everyone. In this video, I will be going over the first part of the 5-1 notes. This is what we would have done if we were in class today. And I'm going to keep it pretty short because I need to for the e-learning day lesson. So I'm going to go over what is a function, what it looks like and what it doesn't look like, and its different representations. And you will get a paper copy of this on Wednesday. We're going to go further from here. So I'm not going to do this part with you in class. If you want to, when you get the paper copy, go in and fill these notes out on your own. That's completely your choice. If for today you want to just jot these down on a separate sheet of paper or just listen to the video, that's fine. This is all completely review from Algebra 1. And just to show you where I'm going, on the second page here, I will show you where I'm going to stop. I'm going to stop right under these graphs. And that's all I'll be doing for today. All right, let's get started. First, what is a function? A function is a relation between x and y, where each x maps to one y. Another way to say this is each x value can only have one y value. This rule only applies to x, and we'll see that in the examples. First, let's look at a table. This is our first representation. Label each table below as function or not a function. So again, our rule is that each x has one y. That's what we care about. So when we go through these examples, we're really just paying attention to what x is doing, and we really don't care what y is doing. So let's look at A. Our x's are -1, 2, 3, and we have another 2. That is what we're trying to keep our eye out for, is when that happens. That is not okay. So this is an example of not a function. And if you want a little explanation, x equals 2 repeats. That's the problem. B, let's take a look here. Our x's are 1, 3, 5, and 7. No repeats. This is perfection. This is exactly what we want. This is a function. And again, if you need a little explanation, x does not repeat. Something to point out, looking at the y values, we notice that y does repeat. It's okay for y to repeat. It's not okay for x to repeat. This is a golden rule of a function, and a lot of students don't quite remember this one or get it confused that they switch which one's allowed and which one's not, or they think that all of the numbers have to be different in the table. That's not true. So that's why I'm really saying we only care what x is doing. We don't care what y is doing at all. Next representation in a set of points. This is pretty much just like a table. The only difference is the points are written out as, like by themselves as a point instead of in a table separated into x and y. So again, we only care what x is doing. So each point is x comma y, so we only care about the first number. We have -2, -1, 4, and 8. And all of these numbers are different. This is what we're looking for, so this is a function. D, and we have here our function g of x. Once again, our points are x comma y, so we only care about the first number. We have 4, 2, -5, and another 4. This is what we are keeping our eye out for. If we have the same x value twice, and pay attention to the y value is different. If this was the same point literally written twice, which we won't do to you, but just throwing it out there, that'd be different. But we wouldn't do that. That's pointless. So same x, different y values, not a function. Last representation on a graph. One more time, we're labeling each graph as function or not a function. So on a graph, what we are doing is called the vertical line test. And you're going to see me use this abbreviation, VLT. So this should definitely ring a bell. But it's exactly as it sounds. What we're going to do is draw vertical lines on the graph, and we want to make sure that each point only hits the vertical line one time. So, or that the vertical line only has 1 point on it. That's a better way to say that. So on graph E, I'm going to do this. And for this graph, I only care about the points specifically, so I'm just going to draw through those points. Oh, it's a bit off. Let me fix that. There we go. So as you can see, on each vertical line I drew, there is only 1 point on it. This is what it looks like when it passes the vertical line test. If it passes the vertical line test, then it is a function. Now let's take a look at another example, example F. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to draw vertical lines through the points. This time you can see that the third line I drew through has 2 points on it. This is what it looks like when it fails the vertical line test. Oh, fix that. There we go. And just for emphasis, let's take a look here. I'm going to zoom in for this part. On our graph, the 2 points we have, I'm going to write down their coordinates. The top one is the point 2, 4, and the bottom one is the point 2, 0. So this is why when we have just points, we pay attention to if that first number repeats. This is what happens on the graph, visually speaking. This is why it's a problem. On the graph, we can clearly see that it fails the vertical line test. Off the graph, we just look and see, do these numbers in the front repeat? So this is what happens when they're put on a graph. They stack, and then they fail the vertical line test, so they are not a function. All right, we've got 3 more graphs here, and these are more like the graphs, some of these should look familiar, of what you're expected to see in Algebra 2. So again, vertical line test is what we're doing here. And I'm only going to draw the vertical lines, like all of them on G. This is something that you really kind of do in your head, but you don't actually draw the lines. You're more than welcome to, but you don't have to. As you can see, I'm just drawing the lines through whole numbers only. There are a lot more lines I could draw because the graph goes in between the whole numbers as well, but I couldn't possibly draw them all. And as you can see, the graph keeps going, so I can only see part of the graph here. So as you can see, each time the graph hits the vertical line, it only does it in one place. I'm going to zoom in a bit here. And it's going to do that the whole way. It's only going to have one spot that it'll hit a vertical line if I were to draw more. Something to point out. On the left and the right side, a lot of students think, and we do this in red so you know it's wrong, that eventually this line is going to straighten out like that and then it would fail the vertical line test. That's not the case at all. I know it's kind of hard to imagine, but just know that this is what it's going to do. This is little by little going to keep going this way. Obviously not that fast, but that's what it's going to do. It will never get completely straight so that it fails the test. Same thing on the right side. This is eventually, or it's still going to move to the right just the littlest bit, but it will never get straight. So this is a good graph. It passes the vertical line test. So it is a function. Next we have graph H. I'm not going to draw all the lines. I'm just going to draw one just for an example. So we have, you can clearly see here that if I draw the vertical lines through here, it's only going to hit the graph one time. And this is a perfectly straight line, or not straight line, but a nice linear graph. So it's going to do that the whole way. You can clearly see it. This is going to pass the vertical line test. So once again, it is a function. Lastly, graph I, we have a circle here. This is one of the most obvious graphs we can give you that fails the vertical line test. And I have a lot of spots to choose from. As you can see, pretty much anywhere on the circle that I draw a line except for the very edges. If I draw a line through the circle, it has to hit the circle 2 times. That's just how it works. So, as you can see, one vertical line hits the circle 2 different places. It's going to fail the vertical line test. So this is what it looks like when it's not a function. And there you have it. Thank you for watching. There is going to be, there is a delta math for you to do as well along with this video. So please go do that now after you've watched the video. If you have questions, please come back to the video. Take a look at the delta math explanations as well. When you get a question wrong, see why it's wrong. If you still have questions after that, you're welcome to email me and I will get back to you as soon as I see it. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Bye.